The next feature we're going to look at is the Boris Blue particle emitters, and I'm going to open up a pre-built setting that has a wide range of emitters in here and just kind of blow through them. We have a foreground element here, which is a title container set to the animation style of Type-On. Blue introduces this hardware accelerated 3D Type-On, where you have, of course, a single editable text block with the individual character animation in 3D as well. So this particle emitter is emitting off of a plane shape. You see I rotate it in 3D and enable a ripple just to show that. The next one I'm going to show uses text as a particle, and of course it's dynamic and the text is editable at all times, as in all the Boris products. And I'll just adjust a few parameters here on the particle emitter. And you can see this is a really quick hardware accelerated particle system. And jumping down to the next one, it's one we call Radiating Rings. Actually, the shape in this particle is based on a Boris spline primitive, and you see here I can just easily change the shape to something else, and we give some hand parameters for manipulating those spline primitives. And of course you could switch it to a spline object and have it be a hand-drawn object as well. And it's using a preset emitter of a ring shape, and we give some handy parameters for adjusting that as well. And so let me show you this on the smoke emitter. One nice feature in these in the blue particles is that I can alt-click in the comp window when I stop playback, and it'll give me that animated preview of the emitter, which will track the cursor, which is really useful for determining how it's going to look in motion. Here, the smoke shows an example of an emitter that's built out of more than one image within the particle emitter. Here, I've put together two images to make a nice full-looking smoke effect. Here's some fire. The fire is emitting from a sphere, which is spinning, which gives it that sort of swirling look to the flames. If I disable the emitter sphere, it's going to use a ring. And there are other preset emitter shapes. There's a wave, and there's a point, of course, and three-dimensional area. But if I put it back to ring, another feature here is attractors and repellers. You see how that sphere that's animating around there is pulling, seems to be attracting the particles, and that's really useful for simulating things like wind and particular gravity situations and stuff like that. Any 3D shape in blue can be a particle. You see now I'm playing, and if I drag the extruded shape and drop it on the emitter, it immediately becomes part of the particle effect. So let me just add these last two extruded text characters in there. And just to show you it's really 3D, if I set it to use manual time, which will sort of freeze the emitter in this case, and I toggle to a camera that's orbiting, you can see that this is truly a 3D object we're talking about here when we're talking about the blue particle emitters. Here's a particle emitter that's meant to show that you can use a hand-drawn spline, using the Boris spline tools again, to act as your particle emitter, which obviously you can imagine that that's a pretty useful feature. If you want to match your particles to a movie or a graphic that you've imported, you can just draw it right on screen, exactly where you want the particles to emit from. Here I've used the same spline, hand-drawn spline path to act as a motion path for the point emitter. And just to show you how flexible, I'm throwing the smoke in the same container as that path, and I can make the smoke emit from the path, or I can make the smoke animate along that path by pasting that motion path filter on there. So you can see it's a really fast and powerful particle system in blue.